Do you believe Jeffrey Epstein actually killed himself?
Absolutely not.
Who do you think had him killed?
I don't think he's dead.
Think he's still alive?
I think so.
Oh my goodness.
So I just have to say this, knowing Jeffrey Epstein for 3 years, I think he's still alive.
Did you go by yourself that second time?
No, she came with me. And then he was very nice. And she didn't think anything of it. I think she already knew what he was doing. And then he was like, listen, you can start coming here by yourself. And I was like, yeah. I said, I don't have a problem. Because now I'm like, okay, he understands. He completely understands that I'm not doing any of these things. So I started to go there alone. And I would see him sometimes 2-3 times a week, depending how much time he was in New York. And eventually it was just like, it was crazy. I was like completely naked. It's like, how did I get here? It's like one day I came in, he's like, well, come on, just like take off your bra. Like, we're friends. Like, I'm not going to do anything to you. Like, I just want to see them. I just want you to be, I want you to be free and feel comfortable. And just getting to know and the grooming process, I was like, okay, and then next thing you know, take off your pants. I'm like, oh, okay. He hasn't done anything. And then next thing you know, I'm naked. And the next thing you know, he's actually abusing me. Next thing you know, he's like raping me. And the next thing I know, he's calling the girls in the room and raping me in front of the girls and telling the girls like, hey, you want to get places, you want to do things, you need to be a good girl like Marina.
Whoa. So he would use you
as like a doll,
as an example to say, hey, if you want help here, if you want money, if you want to increase
continue
your life, you got to do what she's doing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's, something that I think some of the survivors don't like to talk about it. There comes a time that Jeffrey Epstein no longer is interested in you. And then he starts to ask you, hey, how about your sister?
Did you have his personal phone number? Because then you started going alone?
No.
So how were you knowing when to go over there? You had like someone that...
His secretary.
Gotcha. I mean, do you ever think about the maid or the secretary?
All the time. All the time, right?
And they knew it was going on because the maid took you up there. You said it earlier, and she was like, all right.
The maid, the driver, sometimes the maid wasn't there. He would have his, security or his driver would open up the door for us. I've had furniture delivered in my apartment by Jeffrey Epstein because I was like, oh, I need to get new furniture. He was like, I'm getting rid of my furniture. I have so much furniture in my basement or wherever he said it was. He's like, I'll have my driver send it over to you. So he gave me all his old furniture. There were so many things that now I look at it, I'm like, wow, like we would walk into his mansion on broad daylight where Howard Lutnick lives right close to him. So it's like, you would think like people are outside looking. Like there's people in Manhattan all the time, where he lived, it was pretty, there was a lot of people walking. But I think that, we have that saying like in New York, like just mind your business, like keep to yourself. So I think that's a very New York thing. Like just if it's not your business, then just stay out of it. It's like almost like my abuse with my stepfather. Everybody knew about it. Like my neighbors downstairs knew about it. My best friend's mom knew about it. My friends' parents knew about it because they were coming over and they were getting abused and they would go home and then they weren't allowed to come back. So nobody said anything. So it went on for a long time. Nobody wants to get involved with the police.
I figured, I mean, I can also understand the intimidation factor of someone like a Jeffrey Epstein going, not only is this guy abusing me, but powerful, wealthy, and in your shoes from what you've described, I'm an immigrant with no dad and no money. I'm not messing with the really rich, powerful, popular guy.
And he made it clear, too. He made it clear. He's
not to mess with him?
Oh, he would tell us, he's like, I own the banks, I own the government, I own the presidents, I own Prince. I know a lot about people. And if I share what I know, it would be a disaster. He's like, I know everything about everybody. And he used to be, later on, when me and my girlfriend used to go there, he'd be on the phone with celebrities. He'd be on the phone with all these, some of these people from Congress. And he would put us on the phone with them. Like, say hi to this, beautiful young girl that's giving me a massage. And they'd be like, hey, and we would feel like, oh my God, he's like, we're important. He's like showing us off. And we'd be like, hey, like so happy. Like there was one celebrity that we're like, oh my God, like we think he's so funny. We absolutely love him. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're friends with him. He's like, I'll call him up right now. He called him up and we're like, oh my God, we're huge fans of yours. Like we think you're so funny. We absolutely love you. And he's like, yeah, and then he got on the phone with Jeffrey. He's like, hey, Jeffrey, we're supposed to fly to, to this place soon, He's like, yeah. He's like, I just wanted, you to say hi to the girls. The girls are a huge fan of yours. So he would brag about that he was getting massaged by young girls.
So you started becoming public about this September of 2025, so not even a year ago.
Yeah.
What was it like keeping all of this private up until last year?
When the FBI came to me in 2008, and I got subpoenaed in 2008 to go to West Palm, right? Because he got the sweetheart deal in 2008. And I was scared. And I called him when the FBI came and knocked on my door, the house that I was living by myself on 41st Street. They came and they knocked on my door and I like closed the door on them. I was like, I'm not talking to you. And literally the FBI agent threw her card and was like, you're going to talk to me whether you like it or not. So I went upstairs and I called Jeffrey and I was like, why is the FBI calling me and asking me about you? He was like, don't call me back. Don't call me. Don't call the office. He's like, I'm going to have a lawyer call you. So he got a lawyer for me. And when I went to the lawyer's office, I was like, am I supposed to be honest here? Because I knew they knew. Like there was no way that they did not know what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. They were like, you need to be very honest here. And I started to be semi-honest because I was like, these people are not protecting me. And when I was honest about the whole situation, they were like, you're going to jail. And I was like, what? They're like, you're going to jail. You mean to tell me you brought your friends to Jeffrey Epstein's house? I said, he asked me for it. And a lot of these girls needed to go. They were like, you're going to go to jail. So I was like, what? I'm going to jail? They're like, yeah, you might have to go to jail. So I was so scared. I was like, wow, man. And I remember it was June in 2008. It was close to my birthday. I was like, I can't believe this is happening close to my birthday. So it was such a time where I just erased everything from my mind. All I know is that one day I got a phone call saying, hey, don't worry. You don't need to go to West Palm. You don't need to do nothing. I was like, okay. I was like, I never, and back then we didn't have Google. I didn't look up Jeffrey Epstein. I was just like, thank God I don't have to do this, right?
You've talked about having certain records and files being released. Why is that so important to you?
I think everyone should be asking that because if we look at it like these last 3 million files that were dropped, we have so many names in the files, right? Like we have so many prominent people in there. And we're just like, oh my God, the corruption is so heavy. It's so real. Nobody is doing absolutely nothing about it, right? And then we go back and we go, so if they're not doing nothing, these 3 million files were, there was some pretty crazy allegations in there. I don't know if you read them.
Well, there's a lot to go through. I've only looked at some.
Right.
And
did you see the one where like there's an accusation of a girl, she went down on Trump and then she bit him and he slapped her? There's numerous of allegations of our president, of Bill Gates, with also Elon Musk. There's some pretty prominent names there. And, there's a lot of accusations. And then they find this girl, right, this 13-year-old girl at the time. She ended up getting an abortion. Trump, that's what it says, the allegation. These are allegations. Donald Trump made her get an abortion, I think, in like not even in a hospital. Okay, I think it was her uncle did it. It was a crazy story. They finally find this girl, and now we don't know where this girl is. Like Congress supposedly found her, and I'm like, but where is she? Then they have found another Trump survivor that I met in the last time that we went. I didn't know she was a Trump survivor. And she said, no, I'm a Trump survivor. And I was like, oh my God. Like, you know, we went to Washington a month ago. And I was like, oh my God. Like, why isn't she speaking? Why hasn't she said anything, right? And I'm like, well, makes sense. First, people didn't believe us, right? And it was just Jeffrey Epstein, and he was still very, you know, out there, but he wasn't so much out there. People are not going to believe this girl, you know? So when we asked for the files to be dropped, we're just wondering, why aren't they dropping the files? Why are you dropping UFO files? Nobody's asking for them. Nobody cares about them. We know, I mean, some people believe in the UFOs, some people don't. It's not something that right now is, you know, affecting us. Like, it's not like they're coming here and invading our, you know, our world. Like, you know, we didn't ask for that. You came into office saying that you were going to release the Epstein files. Release them. You know, you have Todd Blanche going up there like, there's nothing more to see. No, this is a mistake. We're not, you know, being like so militant about it. Like, we're not releasing them. Why? There are more names in that files. And then I go to myself and I go, if it does get released, are we going to do something, or are we just going to keep having Congress, you know, calling these people over to do, you know, a hearing, to go under oath? Guys, all over the country, people are doing stuff. They're criminally investigating these people. We have Norway. I've been to Norway. People are criminally investigating these people. We are doing absolutely nothing here. It is so frustrating to know that we are the United States of America. We stand for justice, and it is lacking here so hard that I sometimes wonder, I'm like, am I in South America? Because that South America, I could see it, but not here. So it is important for us. It is important for us to get all the names out there.
Do you believe Jeffrey Epstein actually killed himself?
Absolutely not.
Who do you think had him killed?
I don't think he's dead.
Think he's still alive?
I think so.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think?
I don't know. I remember.
I just turned this whole thing over. I was like, "What do you think?"
I
just wanna know.
I remember like my friends and I would talk about it. I was a sophomore in high school, and we would like talk.
First of all, like, you're like so young that it's like I almost want to be like, stop being young because I'm so old. He's like, I was a sophomore in high school. I'm like, what?
Well, I just remember like
Sorry.
I'd be a sophomore in high school, and we would talk about a lot of stuff. We were talking about aliens. We were talking about you know.
Well, now you guys can go through the UFO
files. I don't really care. You said it earlier, like I don't really care about that. It's whatever. Like, you know, but that we would talk about it, and we were all like, no, we don't think he killed himself. We don't think he killed himself. But we never really had the thought of like, oh, is he still alive? We just thought he didn't kill himself. Somebody killed him. But could he be alive? I don't know, because I see all these videos online where people think they saw them and things like that. And then I remember
it's not Palm Beach Pete.
We're gonna get I was going to ask you if you knew who that was.
Yes, we do. I do know Palm Beach Pete. Through a friend of mine knows him very well, and he's very annoyed about the situation.
For someone that doesn't know who Palm Beach Pete is, he's this guy that looks
just like Jeffrey Epstein,
and he happens to live in Florida. But it's
and no, not only just live in Florida. It's like 2 blocks away from his house.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well,
it is. 2 blocks away.
But it's not him.
It's not him. He's very annoyed by that. He looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and but he can't even control that.
He can't. And also, like, we also have to understand, like, we are like, why are we praising this person? Like, why are we glorifying somebody that looks like Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, I don't like that part of internet culture where like people
are
make memes and they glorify like the it's weird. Like,
it's weird.
Yeah, the AI pictures and stuff. It's bad.
And then now all of a sudden there was like a note that they found in his cell. Did you see that?
Yeah, I just saw it the other day where it said like it was like scribble writing and you could barely read it and.
Not fun.
Yeah.
First of all, so I just have to say this, knowing Jeffrey Epstein for 3 years, he would never go down in history as a man that killed himself or allowed somebody to kill him. He has his ego and his pride is through the roof.
So if you think he's still alive, where do you think he is?
Totally laughing at us. No. I mean, I think he's in Israel. And I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody did kill him, but I think he's still alive. I think he was somebody that, you know, was too important to stay alive, right? Let's say too important to stay alive, knew too much. But then he was somebody also too important to be like, okay, like somebody can kill him, or because he was never going to kill himself. I can promise you that. Like, there's no way Jeffrey Epstein would go down in history as a person that chickened out and killed himself. Because I know people are like, oh my God, you have to be brave to kill yourself. I don't think that. I think you're trying to run away from your problems. And, you know, you are, you know, just, you are, unfortunately, you are a weak link and you want to kill yourself. Like, you want to get away from your problems and it's the easiest way out, right? So I don't think that's Jeffrey Epstein. I think he is the type of person that's like, I am going to stay alive. I am going to beat the system. And everyone here is going to help me because I got stuff on you, on you, on you, on you, on you. And everyone is going to do whatever it takes to keep me alive and get me out of here. So I think he's alive.
If you want to support what we're doing here on YouTube, the biggest thing you can do is subscribe. That's what helps us push these videos out and reach more people with the message.